Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are going to react to this video from Smash JT that it's called Exclusive Leaked Video Manja Exposed. And he's referring to this little characteristic that's been part of almost every female character on Western AAA games, which I find weird. But what caught my attention was the fact that he was using a part of MetaHuman Creator as a thumbnail. So it looks like this involves Unreal Engine for some reason. We'll see. Let's see.
With an ongoing issue that many players have noticed, but until now, only few have actually understood. Why do so many female characters in modern gaming have this masculine facial structure, this jawline that looks like a dude, and everywhere you look, even in massive major AAA games, it seems to appear? What's the deal with that? Well, I got an anonymous message from somebody in the industry looking to expose the reality behind the fabled man jaw and why it keeps happening. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. The other day I got a message from somebody looking to expose the inner working.
If you're not familiar with my channel, or if you're new, this is MetaHuman Creator. MetaHuman Creator is a character creator that a lot of us Unreal Engine users use to make characters. An easy way to make a character. They come with all sorts of facial expressions and rigs that you can just use out of the box. It's an awesome tool. I have lots of videos on the channel about this. If you want to check that out, link in the description and subscribe.
Of the man jaw, this man jaw that continues to appear. And while many people initially, including myself, were looking at the developers and saying, oh, these developers are woke and they're trying to inject some sort of androgynous looking person into these games and to see themselves, that's the real reason for it. Potentially, yes. But if you dig deeper, it's actually Epic Games and Unreal Engine, and the default characters that they give these developers aren't very, we'll just say, appealing.
Okay, I don't know where this is coming from because he showed Horizon Zero Dawn, which is not made with Unreal Engine. He showed, and you cannot use metahumans on something else that's not Epic products. It's just a license. There's just no two ways around it. He also showed Star Wars Outlaws, which I'm sure he has a point to this, but I don't understand where Unreal Engine is coming from when the examples he posted in the beginning of the video was they were not made with Unreal Engine. So let's keep watching.
To the feminine form. Hit that subscribe, give me a like, and check out smashjt.com for the full article breaking down the man jaw exposed, actually coming from Epic Games. And to be clear, this video is focusing on MetaHuman and the Unreal Engine from Epic Games. I know there are a tremendous amount of AAA titles out there that don't use Unreal Engine or use their own proprietary game engines when they put it together. So take this all with a grain of salt as far as the overall jaw issue is, but at the same time, if it's happening with MetaHuman and Unreal Engine, there's a high chance and high likelihood that this could also be happening at other studios that have their own engines they're using as well.
It's just the ugliest thing you've ever seen, I think. So let's just undo that. I'll stick with her. But this really shows you just how god-awful some of these, I don't know what you want to call it. It's like the ideology infested tool. I don't have any of these issues when I create a male character. I can create male characters all day and they look great, but it takes forever to make someone look like this. And this is what they want it to look like instead. Like, what the hell is this? This is disgusting.
In a scathing
Okay, I just want to show you something real quick. This is what the person from the video is using. This is MetaHuman Creator. I don't usually do females. I do custom. There's a way to do custom metahumans somewhere else. Again, go to my channel. I have a lot of videos of that. But when you do custom stuff, like this guy is not one of the generic metahumans. This is someone that I created with a different mesh. The way that how MetaHuman Creator works is you just go into the app and you select from several types of metahumans that they have, or you can actually bring your own type of face, which I think this is what the person on that video is doing, bring in their face, scan it with Mesh to MetaHuman, and then you can port it over into this character creator and make your characters look a little bit better. So just to show you that there are several things that you can do here. And this is a free tool, by the way. Everybody can experiment. So if you're curious about doing this, there's plenty of tutorials, and my channel is one of those that has a lot of tutorials. And you can customize them to your heart's content. So now that I've shown you this, let's get back to the video.
Jose, a video has been shared with me privately, and I have been given the okay to share this information publicly about a developer being very frustrated with how a tool generates female models by default. Models that, rather than appearing naturally feminine, instead start off looking like dudes. This developer, who asked me to remain anonymous, has also provided a video with proof of their findings and explained in full detail about Unreal's MetaHuman tool and how it is undeniably cutting edge when it comes to fidelity, with every pore, blemish, and skin reflection being rendered in stunning detail. But, and this is a very big but, as opposed to the models on the women that are anything but that, this comes at the cost of the base models being fundamentally unattractive and unappealing based off of what is given to these artists to begin with.
I agree with this, actually. I find it hard sometimes to create a attractive female metahuman, and it usually has to do with the underlying mesh. That's correct. Again, I think what he's saying, he's correct, and I agree, but I just don't know what this has to do with the industry as a whole.
I thought this was worth showing. This is the MetaHuman tool that Unreal Engine provides for creating realistic characters. And here's a woman I created recently, and I'm quite happy with her, but it's like there's a lot of detail, and I think the shape is really nice, looks very very appealing and feminine. But you have to try very hard to get her to look like this. I had to do what's called the Mesh to MetaHuman workflow, which is to import a custom mesh. You actually can't really create someone who looks like this from scratch using the characters they give you. They're actually quite, a lot of them are.
Well, yes, it does have its limitations because they have to have a standard. I personally don't understand why is it so hard to create attractive females in there. But one thing that I would say is, if I was making a game, I would not use MetaHuman Creator or the metahumans that are there. I believe they are not there to be used as they are. I believe that you're supposed to be used what drives them. So if I was making a game, there are several ways that you can edit the DNA being the, let's say, the engine that drives the metahumans, which are these characters. You're supposed to use that and use your own characters. Now, every developer can do whatever they want. I'm not saying what you as a dev should do. So in my opinion, you're not supposed to use these as your characters, but hey, the developer wants to use them. I guess they're there for a reason, right?
Actually quite ugly, I find. And so I have to use an alternate workflow to get in a different looking mesh to start with, and then I can sculpt it to the way I want it.
The starting point for these female characters is unnaturally androgynous, and it takes a tremendous amount of effort on the wireframing of the face to contort it to look more like a woman. That right there is the problem with everything. It all requires extensive tweaking.
I don't understand, again, why this is an issue, because you can choose to use the MetaHuman, let's call it the MetaHuman engine. It's actually the rig, but you can use the MetaHuman rig and use your own character. It's not hard. This is just for you to get something real quick. If you want to customize your own character, you can create your own character and just add this rig. It's not that hard. I've done it.
significant efforts from the artists themselves just to achieve a traditionally feminine look. I can think of 3 different reasons why this is happening. 1, they're just straight up lazy developers, or 2, they're just untalented and don't know how to do it and work it to make it look more feminine, so they just stick with the default option. Or 3, the artist themselves is straight up androgynous themselves and they want to see themselves in the game that they're making. But typically, what's transpiring here for this Manjaw is one of those 3 things is happening, which is why it continues to perpetuate itself in all of gaming.
So the lazy argument, I never buy it, because the reason why a character looks the way it does is because someone actively chose that it would look that way. It's not because, oh, I didn't want to do it. No. If you work on AAA, you, as an artist, we're talking about character art. I'm not talking about programming. I'm not talking about writing. I'm not talking about anything else. I'm talking about 3D artists and character art, which is what I know. If you are working in AAA, meaning Ubisoft, BioWare, Guerrilla Games, you are top talent. They are. They just are. The artists in there are top talent because of the process that you have to go through to get those jobs. So the lazy argument instantly is out of the window for me. I can see an indie dev using this. I can guarantee you that a AAA company is not going to use this. Like, out of the box, the way that she's doing it with MetaHuman Creator, a AAA company is not going to do this. They have their own characters, they have their own stuff. So if a character looks a certain way, it's not because someone was lazy, it's because that was an active choice by people upstairs. Let's keep going.
And so I have to use an alternate workflow to get in a different looking mesh to start with, and then I can sculpt it to the way I want it. There's a funny little slider that they provide, which is basically to ignore the mesh that you use and to revert to using theirs. And it just shows you the total anti-woman bias that's in tools like this, and that explains a lot. Like why is it that women look so ugly? And so, like, right now it's set to 1, which is using my mesh, and if I set it to 0 and using theirs, this is what they want to do.
And as you see,
okay, it's not that they want to do, is that there is the workflow for the MetaHuman. They have a singular base mesh. The reason why they have a singular base mesh is because when you're using metahumans, you have different types of metahumans, and they all share the same brick. So they also have to share, and I'm sorry I'm getting a little bit technical here, but they also share the same topology, and sometimes they do have to share certain features. If you decide to go with the features that Epic is giving you, that is your choice. It's not Epic forcing you to do anything. That is your choice, because there are many ways that you can create metahumans. And I'm going to keep saying, go take a look at my channel. I have various videos using metahumans.
In the video, one of the most striking features of this is the jawline and the facial structure of MetaHuman's female models. The prominence of the jawline, high foreheads, and heavy set features read far more masculine when you're watching it. These features just aren't minor quirks. They require a considerable amount of work from the game artist to reshape it into something that would finally actually resemble.
No, they do not require a considerable amount of work. I don't know if MassJT was a game developer or know how game art happens. He probably does. I've seen his channel. He seems knowledgeable. So that's why I don't get why he's making these arguments that is so hard for developers to get a good female form, because the only thing you have to do is not use MetaHuman and Creator. You can create metahumans other ways. Yes, it's that easy. You just go into Maya, you use the DNA, and you put whatever character you want. In fact, I'm showcasing an example of something that I use right over here. You go into Maya. Maya is the industry standard. Sorry, Blender people. I know you want Blender to be industry standard, but it's Maya right now. and you can just grab the DNA and create whatever other character that you want. So again, these are my videos, and you can see that I have several different shapes here, and I'm still using the MetaHuman rig. I'm not using MetaHuman Creator, but I'm using MetaHuman rig.
What we would consider a woman. This is, according to my source, a very likely reason as to why we're seeing more and more female characters in AAA games come packed in with the now more infamous man jaw look, because the starting templates already lean heavily masculine to begin with, and regardless of the reason why the developer doesn't change it, the end result is it still happens. The problems don't stop at the face. MetaHuman's approach to the female body is equally strange, and honestly even more extreme for the worse. As my source pointed out, the default models lack any kind of actual curvature, flat chests, non-existent hips, and unnaturally compressed proportions. Now, when you look at it,
This is true, and I agree. It's inside the MetaHuman Creator and any of the female MetaHumans, they do not have an appealing body or an appealing face. But I've already explained a solution to that. I just want to say that I do agree with that, and I always wonder, why is it that you cannot make an attractive MetaHuman with MetaHuman Creator? Beats me. I'm not going to speculate, but you just can't.
game like Dragon Age the Veilguard and the character creator, you weren't even able to raise out the chest and make it look more like a woman. It was very limited with the options that they presented you in the creator character. And you look over at Epic Games' Unreal Engine and see what they provide the developers with, and it makes more sense. Everything comes together.
No, it doesn't make any sense. I agree with your premise that the MetaHuman Creator doesn't allow you to make attractive females, but that doesn't explain everything else. It's a higher up decision.
And you're like, okay, now I get it. Now I see where the problem is starting. If this is just simply a technical oversight or somehow some part of a much larger ideological push for inclusivity, we already know what Epic Games is going to talk about and how they respond to that. They'd say, oh, it's something along the lines of, we're trying to be more inclusive. This is how real people look in real life. That's why we made the models look.
Yeah, I've heard that argument. I heard the argument that the reason why the metahumans look the way they do is because it's supposed to represent average people. I wish that you can make attractive characters, because here's the thing: when it comes to male metahumans, you cannot make like a very burly character. You have to customize it in order to make it into a metahuman. So it's not just girls; it's guys too.
Generic and androgynous, because sure, when you go to Walmart, that's probably what you'll see there. So we make games that look like the people in Walmart. Why wouldn't we? Look, when I play a game, I don't want to see the people in Walmart in my game. I want to see.
Oh man, I'm sorry. This part's funny.
More attractive characters, unless the game itself is trying to put itself in a Walmart. And if I'm going to be playing Walmart Simulator, I'm going to start questioning my life choices. There's a good reason why artists in animation, comics, and gaming stylize characters to emphasize certain features, whether it's sharper jawlines for heroic male leads or softer, more delicate facial features for feminine characters.
I agree. When I was learning how to become a character artist, the person that was mentoring me always said, the number one rule is you have to have appealing characters on screen. I personally don't understand what's going on with AAA right now, but appealing characters is something that you should create all the time.
We play games for escapism, not whatever the hell this program is defaulting to. And this developer themselves is a woman who is fed up with the woman looking like men in games. It's not just dudes that are frustrated with this. It's literally anybody that doesn't look androgynous or want to push an ideology on people. Anyone who's normal, looking at the situation for what it is realistic to say, Yeah, that jawline looks like a dude. If realism was truly the
That's
goal
true.
with all of this, why do all the male characters still retain their broad shoulders, strong chins, and well defined muscles? Why
Again, the male characters, metahuman creators, are not better than the female characters. They're not this big, broad shoulders. So you can select the chiseled jaw, but if you wanted to try to make someone like Henry Cavill in metahuman creator, you can't. Or if you want to make someone like Chris Hemsworth, you can't. So I'd say it's even for male and female metahuman creator.
does inclusivity always seem to disproportionately affect female character designs? Do we even need a tinfoil hat on at this point when we're looking at this stuff to realize that the agenda that's being pushed is pretty obvious? The issue here, at least from my perspective, isn't just about aesthetics. It affects how games are perceived, how players connect with characters, and how even the industry's creative direction has taken a turn for the worse. If tools like this metahuman always default to making women look androgynous or masculine, then all these studios that rely on them will intentionally or unintentionally, depending on the talent working there, push this slop of aesthetics directly onto the players. And we are seeing the end result in it with almost every single game we see come out right now.
Oh my god, the picture of Eloy. I like Horizon Zero Dawn. I played the second one. I think the second one's not as great as the first one, but I do think she got the yeah.
Especially from the West. It's no wonder that we're seeing more games with unappealing female protagonists that fail to resonate with audiences. When character artists have to fight upstream against the grain, against the very tools that they're using to make a woman look like a
No. If you're a character artist, you do not have to fight anything. You just get your character into Maya, change the DNA, and it's done. It's very easy to do, actually.
woman, it's no surprise to anyone that we keep getting female characters who look like they were designed by a committee rather than artists with an eye for appeal. It all makes perfect sense now. At its core, it isn't just a minor technical issue, it's a philosophical one. Gaming has always been a blend about art and technology pushed together, and at the core of society at large since gaming's inception. But when the tools being provided to the artists are actively working against the artists themselves, it raises some serious concerns about the future of gaming. If MetaHuman and Unreal Engine continue down this path, we're bound to see a future where all female characters have to conform to this flat, androgynous, and realistic look.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. If a developer chooses to use this, it's not because of the tool, it's because of the developer. And I'm not defending the practice of having a square jaw on a woman. I personally don't like it. I like to make attractive female characters. But it's not because of Unreal Engine, it's not because of Epic. It's because what the developer, the studio, the character director, someone in HR, whoever, they decided the character to be that way. Has nothing to do with the tool. Let's keep going.
Hell, some would even argue that we're already living in that very future right now. Game studios have lost their ability to creatively visualize what a female character looks like and be distinctive with appealing characters simply because their tools aren't allowing it, or their artists are too lazy or untalented to be able to do any better. Maybe it's a time issue.
I already spoke about lazy and untalented before. I'm not gonna say it again. I used to be a character artist. I left the gaming industry because the pay sucks, but it's not a lazy or untalented, especially in AAA. And I think I'm gonna have to make another video for that.
Maybe it's a mental issue. Maybe it's someone that's trying to push an ideology on someone. Whatever the reason is, the fact of the matter is, it keeps happening. And this program is at the center of all of it.
it's just the ugliest thing you've ever seen, I think. So let's just undo that. I'll stick with her. But this really shows you just how god awful some of these I don't know what you want to call it. It's like the ideology infested tool. This is it's I don't have any of these issues when I create a male character. I can create male characters all day and they look great, but it takes forever to make someone look like this. And this is what they want it to look like instead.
The developer who reached out to me provided me with some pretty compelling evidence as to what is transpiring here. And as you've seen overlaid on this, the video that they sent me is truth enough for everyone to see. In an industry where aesthetics matter and where art should be free from ideological constraints, this issue deserves more attention. It's time for Epic Games to answer to all gamers. Why do the default female models all look like dudes? And why game developers will have to fight so damn hard just to get femininity back into gaming where, I don't know, women themselves actually want to see the characters look like women. It's not just dudes that are saying, hey, this is kind of weird. Why does it keep happening? Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Shout out to the anonymous tipster developer that sent this information to me.
And I'm sorry I got a little bit animated with some of the arguments here, but it has nothing to do with MetaHuman Creator. Nothing against whoever the developer person is, whoever this woman is, but you can make things easier if you just go into Maya and use the MetaHuman DNA. And it's not just my channel. There's several channels that have a way to do this. Is use the MetaHuman DNA. If you want to use the facial rig, because the facial rig is amazing, you can use the blend shapes and you can still use the body rig as well. You can customize your MetaHuman that way, use the grooms and everything, and you don't have to go through MetaHuman Creator at all. Because this tool is designed to make something generic. I agree, it's very hard to do attractive females with this tool. So I recommend that you don't use MetaHuman Creator and just go the Maya route. Reach out to me if you want. And Smash, if you want to talk about this, I'm open to have an argument. I actually agree with you about characters needing to be more appealing in video games. I just don't agree that it's Epic's fault or is because of MetaHuman Creator. But anyways, if you want to have that discussion, happy to have it. Thank you so much for watching. If you are new, this is a tool that you can use for free. And let me down in the comment section below if you want me to do, because I need to update all the tutorials that I had in the past with the new stuff. So I'll be doing more tutorials on MetaHuman creation, using customizing MetaHuman outside of MetaHuman Creator, meaning outside of the tool that he's showcasing here. So you can see that it's not that it's hard for artists to create a female character in an Epic game, because you can just go the other route and it's actually pretty easy. Again, thank you so much for watching. Hit the subscribe, hit that like button. Leave me a comment whether you agree or disagree with me. I'm always happy to talk to people that disagree with me. I'll see you in the next one.